Alrighty, we will get started here in the next couple minutes. So go ahead and get ready. Alrighty, folks, we are going to go ahead and get started with our warm-up. Let's get ready. Grab my timer here. And first things first, I'll go over the movements, just kind of prepping you guys for an idea. We'll do our typical 8-minute warm-up. We might cut it down to 4 minutes again, like we did the last couple of times. Feel like we're still warm enough, plus with the extra reps we get before the actual workout. Hannah, you feel like it's been going well with that? Okay, perfect. We might do that again then, just to save some time, because we've got some new movements today. So first movement of our workout is called a Kang Squat. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of those before. It essentially encompasses a hip hinge and then a squat, and then you reverse the motion. It looks kind of like you're hinging into place. They're kind of fun. The next movement I've got is we're going to be doing unilateral weighted holds with marching, so working really on our core stability while having a load on one side. Then we'll follow that up with some backward lunges. So we've done forward lunges before where you're stepping forward. Now switching that up, stepping backwards into that lunge. Some people find this a little bit easier on the knees. And then we'll switch sides with that unilateral hold with the marches. Another minute there. Into a plank hold with shoulder taps. Again, working that core and back stability. And we'll finish it off each round with some goblet squats. So holding that weight right next to the chest. But first, we'll go ahead and get started with our warm-up. I'll get my timer out. Starting with those jumping jacks here in about 10 seconds. In 3, 2, 1, begin. Stretching your calves and shoulders in that downward dog, nice and controlled into the cobra pose. And I'm no yogi, so there's no need to do that push-up in between. You can just rock back and forth. Perfect. Next, switching into mountain climbers, still in that plank. Like you're running on the ground. Perfect. Next movement coming up is going to be that plank to T opener. And switch. Starting in that plank hold. Rotating up, looking at your hand, opening up the chest. switch. Starting big in a star, crossing over to the opposite foot. Perfect few seconds. Move to our boot strappers and rotate. So boot strappers again, holding onto those toes, lowering down, and back up. This is going to keep falling on me today. Remember to keep hands and elbows on the inside of the knees, trying to go into that deep squat. Perfect. From here, go ahead and sit down. Move to our seated hip openers. Knees pointing one direction, rotating, pointing the other. Try to think at that end range too, sitting up on your hip, sitting nice and tall, always keeping good posture. Perfect. Last movement is our standing crunches. So standing elbow to knee, switching each side. Perfect. Few more seconds here. Alrighty, we'll call that good on the warm-up today. Nice job, everyone. Let me turn down the music real quick. I really hope this will stay on me today. Okay, perfect. So as I mentioned before, and for those of you joining us today, our workout style here is what is called a fight gone bad style of workout. So essentially, you work for so many minutes straight, and then you get a minute rest, and it's 3 rounds total. So luckily for us, it's only 7 rounds, so 6 movements with that minute of rest. And then, like I mentioned, we've got our 6 movements. Technically 5, we just switched sides on one of them. But our first movement today is a Kang Squat. So we're not going to do any weight for these today. But a Kang Squat is essentially going into that hip hinge, squatting down, back into that hip hinge, standing up. So if you want to go ahead and practice with me, I definitely always lose my balance on the coming up. So hip hinge back, squat down, back into that hip hinge, stand up. So it's kind of got 3 parts. Feel free to just get a feel for that movement. Today, I really want you to focus on making sure each of those is a distinct movement from hip hinge, pause, squat, pause, hip hinge, pause, stand up, repeat. Any questions on those? No? Pretty good? Okay, perfect. Then we're moving on to our unilateral hold. I said right side first. Feel free to do whatever's comfortable for you. So if you've got the dumbbell with you, feel free to have the bulky end kind of resting on your shoulder. Same with the dumbbell. I can show you on that other side. I gave you both options, kind of depending on what's more comfortable. Like my wrist can tolerate the kettlebell and the dumbbell, but for some people, they have a preference on one versus the other. So with that weight on one side, really focus on keeping those abs firm so that when I lift my leg, I'm not tilting to the side, but my torso stays straight up. So making sure abs are firm, keeping pretty much everything up here level. Only thing that's moving is our legs. Looks good. You guys feel your abs working? No? Maybe you chose too light of a weight. No, just kidding. Ooh. Yes, weight does make a difference. Because if you think about it, you're holding it on that one side. So when you lift up, it's going to want to pull you down, but you got to use your abs to control that march. Perfect. Next movement for today is our backwards lunge. So just like the forwards lunge, but we're going backwards. So reminder on the lunge, we are not trying to step one foot in front of the other, but keep your feet or hip distance apart, so hip width, and then from there, lowering back 90 degrees with my knee and my ankle, standing up, switching sides. Try it out for a little bit, get a feel for how far back you want that traveling foot to go, just because we can't see it, so making sure it's a comfortable distance. Perfect. Any questions with those? They feel good? Okay, perfect. Then our next movement is switching arms for that unilateral hold with the march. So same thing, just other side. Making sure abs are firm. Pretty much nothing from waist up moves, except obviously we're switching side to side, but our legs are doing all that movement. Core is strong. Perfect. Next movement of the day is a plank with a shoulder tap. So again, working our core, you're gonna hold that plank position, make sure my butt's not too high, but nice and neutral, definitely don't want dipping down low. So from here, keeping that core and back tight, you're gonna shift weight onto one hand, tap shoulder, tap shoulder, tap shoulder. If that is too challenging, feel free to drop to the knees. Same thing, core, back tight, shifting that weight, tapping shoulders. You'll probably feel your abs on that one. I can almost guarantee it. Perfect. And then our last movement of today's workout is a goblet squat. Again, you can hold with a dumbbell, hold it here on one end, or if you have a kettlebell or prefer kettlebell, swing it up, hold the round end. Here, you want to make sure, especially on goblet squats, keeping your chest high and this weight close to your body, because it's sure going to get difficult if we hold it out here. So from here, chest high, normal squat down, keeping that chest nice and tall. Good. And just a reminder, each of these movements are performed for a minute. So don't go guns a-blazing right out of the gate. Pace it. Quality of movement over the quantity. We're not keeping track of our score of how many reps we do, so really focus on the quality of the movement, not how many you're doing. Do we have any questions before we get started? No? Okay. Perfect. Let me switch our playlist real quick to something a little more upbeat, and I'll get my timer ready. With those Kang Squats here in 10 seconds. Reminder, it's a hinge to squat to a hinge to standing up. In 3, 2, 1, go. Too many things to think about. Nice job, everyone. Focus on pushing those hips back, lowering down, coming back, standing up. So free to put hands wherever. Mine get in the way, so find that holding them out a little bit is the best. Make sure we're keeping a neutral spine this whole time. All the curves in our back stay where they're supposed to be. Alrighty, switching to our next exercise. Holding that dumbbell or kettlebell on one side and marching. Making sure you keep your abs firm. Try to keep everything up here stationary while our legs do the marching. Good job. 15 more seconds, and we'll switch to the backward lunges. Perfect. In 3, 2, 1, go ahead and put your weight down. Transitioning to a backward lunge. Remember, hips width apart. No need to do a curtsy lunge. That's not the intended movement of today. Alternating leg each time. 15 more seconds, and then we'll switch to the other hold. Perfect. In 3, 2, 1, hold with the marches, holding that weight in your other arm this time. Perfect, halfway there. In 10 seconds, moving on to that plank hold with the shoulder tap. In 3, 2, 1, switch. Remember, holding a good plank, but isn't too high or too low. We're keeping our core tight, glutes tight, switching the weight, arm to arm. One thing I forgot to mention too, we really want to make sure we're not rotating as well. So from here, my body's flat. I'm not rotating up like this, but keeping it nice and in that neutral where my core and back are both tight. Seconds, and then we have goblet squats to finish out this first round. In 3, 2, 1, go ahead and pick up your weight. Remember, keep it nice and close to your chest. Definitely don't want it out here. It's a lot of work for your arms, match your legs, and squatting down, keeping that chest tall. Make sure your knees are traveling over your toes. Don't want to see anything coming in. You're going too far out. we get our first rest break. Alrighty, and rest. Nice job, everyone. Be sure to grab some water, shake everything out. We'll be back in about 50 seconds. Kang Squat. Hinging first, squatting down, back to that hinge, standing up, making sure we keep those good neutral curves in our spine. I know mine looks a little funny, I got the battery pack on me currently. But that hinge, squat, hinge, stand up. Making sure you can define each piece of the movement for me. About halfway there. Perfect. In 3, 2, 1, switch to our first arm of that unilateral hold with the marches. The thunder starts to roar. The lion that wakes the way. Again, keep abs firm, still breathe. Legs are the only thing moving. Sometimes, but I would walk 1,000 miles to see you rise. You are not alone with your family. Hold me, let's escape all this reality. Perfect. In 3, 2, 1, switching to our backwards lunges. Again, make sure we keep our chest tall, nice and controlled. Step back, lunge down. Seconds, we'll switch back to the other hold with the marches. Perfect. In 3, 2, 1, go ahead and switch. Try to challenge yourself a little bit, having the march slow and controlled as well. Focusing on that single leg balance. In 10 seconds, move on to our plank hold with shoulder taps. Switching in 3, 2, 1, switch. Exercise of today's cycle with the goblet squat. In 3, 2, 1, switch. Nice job keeping the chest tall. Weight close to your body. Halfway there. 25 more seconds, then we get a rest break. Yeah, we're doing great. Ready. Rest in 3, 2, 1. Rest. Nice job, everyone. Like always, grab some water, shake it out. Be back in about 50 seconds. We will get started here. About 10 seconds. Back to the Kang Squat for our last round of today's workout. In 3, 2, 1, begin. Switch into our first of that single arm hold with the march. In 3, 2, 1, switch. Try to challenge yourself, thinking slow and controlled transition leg to leg. seconds. We'll switch to our next movement, those backward lunges. In 3, 2, 1, switch. Again, on this one, nice and controlled, down to 90 degrees, or if your knee touches like me. I have no speed control, I feel like, when I do lunges. Always got 2 nice bruises on my kneecaps. Looking good, everyone. More seconds here, and then move into our last of that unilateral hold, the marching. Perfect, and switch. Dumbbell up, nice and controlled, marches. Shifting that weight from one leg to the next. Halfway there. Y'all are doing really good. In 15 seconds. Moving on to the plank hold with shoulder taps. In 3, 2, 1, switch. Down into that plank hold, set yourself up, then, sorry about that, tap each shoulder. Hitting the mic instead of my shoulders. Halfway. Perfect. In 15 seconds, our last movement of today, those goblet squats. In 3, 2, 1, switch. Go ahead and pick up that weight. Hold it nice and close to your body, keeping that chest up, squatting down, nice and controlled the whole time. Seconds, and then we get to cool down. Perfect. Keep going. 5 more seconds. Doing great. And done. Nice job, everyone. Grab some water, shake it out. Alrighty. Did anyone notice a theme on today's workout? Okay, give it to you. Really working on our hip flexion. So when we squat, our hips have to bend. We gotta work those muscles. When we march, we gotta work those muscles. And then also stabilizing our core. Not necessarily having to move those muscles, but with those one-sided carries, really focusing on not allowing us to dip side to side or rotate. And same thing with those plank shoulder taps, keeping that core strong. Both things, very important for everyday life. We need a strong core, obviously, for everything, lifting, carrying, walking, up and down stairs, walking in general, those things, as well as our leg muscles are the biggest muscles in our body. They should be strong to help us do all the things that we do every day. Awesome job today. With that, we'll go ahead and stretch the 2 areas we were working on today, starting with a Cobra Pose hold. I like this one. Dual purpose with those hip flexors as well as the abs. Here's a good time to start thinking about your breathing, slowing it down, taking longer to breathe in, maybe a little bit of a hold with that air, and then longer breathe out. Perfect. From here, go ahead and rotate into a child's pose. Thinking stretching shoulders, pushing my bum back to my heels. Or if you have really inflexible hips like I do, just attempting to do that. Perfect. From there, I'll have you go ahead and hand up to your hands and knees, and then bring one leg through, keeping your arms on the outside, and then stretching the leg that's back out straight to stretch that hip flexor. This is too easy. Feel free to go down on your elbows. Again, I have 0 hip flexibility, so not possible here, but I applaud you if you can. Awesome. From there, you'll actually lean back onto the leg that was back, straighten the other leg that was in front, straighten that knee, stretching the back of the legs. You can use your arms for support, or if that's uncomfortable, if you've got the balance, hold on to your hips, and then you can hinge here, feel that stretch on the back of the legs. A little bit of a runner stretch here. Good. And then we'll rotate that hip around. Bring the other foot in front. Make the back leg straight again. Should feel it in that hip flexor area, kind of in the crease where your leg meets your hip. Good. And then lean back onto that back leg, straighten the front one out. Feel it in the backward hamstrings. Perfect. And then we'll go ahead and stand up and finish out with some side leans. I like to hold my hands above my head and then lean side to side till I feel a stretch. Hold for a couple seconds and then switch. You can also think about it. I gotta push my hips one way, my arms in the other to get that stretch. Go ahead and do a few more on each side. Perfect. And that rounds out today. Thank you all for joining me. So happy I could see your faces today. I'm looking forward to Wednesday, same time.
doing some new movements, some new exercises and combinations. Thank you.
There's something in the air.